Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Well, Paul's gone.
Yeah.
I can't say I miss him. I mean, I appreciate Paul for coming onto the show and helping us out, talking about threes, but that was fucking atrocious.
I almost wanted to talk over you just to bring the spirit of Paul back in.
And our part three of part threes really captured the essence of a part three. It was just a total fucking mess. Sounded like shit. Paul's talking over me. If you guys are on Patreon, on our Patreon site, you got to see a video version of the podcast, which I didn't edit. So you got to see some extra content. And one of the things that was not cut out was me telling Paul to shut the fuck up and stop talking over me. Because he literally, like I was like, on that episode, I had said something and he talked over me. And I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, he had been doing this for multiple episodes at this point. And then I said like, I was trying to repeat the same thing. And he literally turned to Joe
Just started talking.
and said something again. and it was like so, you couldn't even understand it. He talks so low, but like, for some reason, he thinks it doesn't affect people. If you watch the video of it, he's always like looking at you. And he goes like this. This is only for video people, but he'll be like, and you'll be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, your face is just as confused because you're like, what do you need?
I'm like trying to point to the camera to remind him that, we're being recorded.
Not even that. You're just kind of like, I don't know what you even need. I'm confused because you're confused because there's nothing that's confusing in this situation. like it's so weird. It makes no sense.
Paul's one of my oldest friends, and that's been the story of his life forever.
And I genuinely love Paul. I think Paul's a great human being, but god damn it. We gotta limit that shit to 2 sessions. 2 sessions, right? Max. Oh, fuck. Anyway. Thanks, Paul. See you in 3 months for the next episode. Appreciate your help. I don't even know. I'm all thrown off now. I'm all frazzled.
So we're doing something fun this week, finally.
Oh, yes, finally. Actually, you know what I have to do, though?
We're back to our OG format, which is nice.
Yeah, we haven't done this in a while. And it's nice to not have to watch like 36 movies in
it was so nice.
5 days. I honestly thought I was fucking up the show because like Thursday came around and I was like, I haven't watched a single movie this week.
Same.
And I was like, I really don't want to watch anything still. But I was like, but I feel like I need to soon. And I mean, I was fine. I watched them, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful to not have to do that.
Yeah. Well, what was it, like 8 weeks that we were doing part threes? When did we start that?
Dude, it was 6 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean...
for us, it was
like... It was longer. It was like 12 weeks.
It's like 6 months. We've been recording for 6 months. So this week, we're starting... Well, we'll call it the Horror Show Summer Camp. Is that what we called our live tweets so far this summer? We did the faculty.
Right, yeah.
The Horror Show Summer School.
Just stealing Joe Bob Briggs'
gimmick, which is fine. Sorry, Joe Bob. But come on, use it or lose it, right? Yeah. That's the rule.
No one else is using it. Probably so many people using it.
Oh, and before we get to that, I just want to say this episode is brought to you by Richard H. and Stephen B. Unless I already credited them, but thank you guys very much, and we appreciate that. But yeah, we're gonna start. So this is the start of Joe Bob Briggs. No.
Nope.
This is the start of the Horror Show's Summer School. And I didn't want to start with Friday the 13th. Didn't want to start with anything fully school related or like, sleepaway camp type of thing. So I found The Burning, which I'd never seen. And I said, that's a good summer theme.
Yeah.
It still can't, but kind of lesser on the radar, I guess. Not
It's-
cliche.
It was definitely under the radar, and I think it's like one of the most underrated masterpieces of all time, to be perfectly honest with you.
This movie was so damn good.
Right?
I was so fucking mad it took me this long to see it.
This was my third viewing of it, and we say it all the time. I think, especially since watching all the part 3s and all the other shit, like the Ice Cream Man and all the other shit that we've watched.
Yeah.
Watching this one, I was like, holy fuck, this might be a 5-star movie. Like, this is amazing.
Yes, and it's funny you mentioned that because I, after the 3s, I manned up and I said, you know what? I need to keep watching. There goes my phone. I need to keep watching movies or else I'll just never watch a movie again after the 3s. So I was like, you know what? I'll catch up on some of the new movies I haven't gotten to watch.
Saw your letterbox, yeah.
And so I think I did Hush first. I was like, this movie's really fucking good. I was like, unless I'm comparing it to 3s. Then I put on, what was the next?
Invitation?
Dude, Invitation was amazing. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, I'm seeing way too many good movies now. And I was like, this must be like a side effect of watching the bottom of the bottom. But everyone said no.
No, there's just good movies out there. We just don't seek them out.
We're jerks. We're fucking jerks. Okay, so here's a list of our most recent movies. Ready? This is bad.
I'm seeing it.
It's Alive, Ice Cream Man, Night of the Lepus, Phantasm 2, which, okay, Ghoulies, Dolls was solid,
Yeah,
but
yeah. In context.
like we were at our lowest there. And then we immediately start out with the worst part 3s.
Go back to that, the part 3. When was our first one come out? June 29th. It's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough. But tonight we're starting off Horror Show Summer School with The Burning. And such a good movie.
Came out in 1981.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by Bob Weinstein, one of the Weinstein brothers.
Yeah, which was crazy.
And the score was done by Rick Wakeman, who is of the band Yes. He's a pretty well-known musician.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And he didn't I think he didn't take all of his royalties because he was like, yeah, this movie's not going to do anything. And it was the highest grossing horror movie in Japan of that year.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not catch any of those facts. I thought I had a decent amount of facts. So Savini this is one of Savini's big ones. And I don't know why, because he didn't have the biggest budget for it. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But a lot of people always are like, oh yes, it's like a Savini masterpiece, which I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with.
And it came after his work on Friday.
Yeah. And he turned down part 2.
Part 2 to do this.
This. And I'll read it after we talk about the movie, but I have an interview with him from Fangoria in 81.
Really?
Where he talks about it, and he kind of shits on the Friday the 13th franchise.
Really?
Yeah, which I was very surprised about. And he said, we'll get to it, but the best part was he was like, they made Jason, Jason was just a figment of the girl's imagination in part 1. And then in part 2, now he's alive. And you're telling me he's been living under a lake all this time? I don't buy it. So I'm not into this series anymore. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you went back. Went back to that well a lot, I think. As long as they're willing to pay. And then he even says that. He's like, well, The Burning paid me up front and a lot more money. I was like, you could just say that, man.
He didn't pack any punch or pull any punches with this movie.
No.
It was
awesome. It was so good. It was one of the first movies to land on the UK's Video Nasties list.
Yeah. Because of that one scene.
Yeah. Also, Amazon or in IMDb had a fact. And we'll get to this character. No, I'll save this fact for when we get to this character. Yeah. Dude, I saw him and I was like, this guy's 67 years old. But 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, too.
Really? Because I actually have it up right now.
Well, 100 from critics,
100.
but I don't know how that works. The critics, they pull for, sometimes it's it's a popular movie and it'll be there's no critic reviews for this. Be like, how do you figure that?
Huh.
But I don't know. So I don't count that. I gotta go. I don't know. It's weird. I like looking at both, but Somebody needs to just make a format that works. It stops pissing me off. All right, so let's get into The Burning. I have so many notes for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So we open up Camp Blackfoot, and we have a bunch of kids. They're getting ready to do a prank of some type. Now, originally, the copy I was watching was very dark, so I couldn't see shit for what was going on in this, but I rewatched it. But they're carrying around a box.
Yes.
And I assumed it was fireworks.
Me too.
But it is not. They go into this guy's cabin.
Whose name is
Cropsy.
And, where we grew up, there was a legend of Cropsy. And come to find out that there's a legend of Cropsy in almost every single fucking town.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that later, because I actually don't know anything about Cropsy. So I'm going to talk to you about our legend
about our Cropsy?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Is it the same story as this?
So we have... it's far from a beach, but it's like the closest thing to a beach.
It's a fucking pond.
Yeah, and there's sand there, though. It's like a man-made beach, but it sucks.
Disgusting.
And you wouldn't ever want to swim in there. But for some reason, all our parents took us there for swimming lessons and like summer camp. And the legend was, on the other side, there was a big house, and there was some guy who was murdered, and his name was Cropsy, and at night he comes back and he tries to kill people.
Huh.
So... it's just like a standard urban legend.
That's solid. I like that they kept it around a lake.
I feel like that's where it is everywhere. I didn't watch the documentary on Cropsy yet. But.
No, neither did I. Because I knew that was like vaguely the story, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, neat. So I get to hear like 8 different people tell me the same story. Thing. But in my town, it's a White House. So they go into this counselor. I guess it's a counselor, right? His name's Cropsy.
Yes.
Something.
He looks like Cher's son in Mask.
Dude, he totally
this is before he's defigured.
He totally
he's just the guy.
Yeah, which is the most insane thing.
His nostril, like his nose, like doesn't even come out like a normal nose. It's just nostrils.
It's dude, and like I feel like they picked him so they had to do less makeup, which is terrible to say. But Savini quoted as saying like he only had like a few days to develop the makeup for this guy, and he's like, yeah, it didn't come out the way I wanted it. And I'm thinking like maybe they like made the makeup, and then he was like, oh shit, you got to get me like the ugliest guy to make this work. Like, because this guy's ugly as fuck. This guy is ugly as fuck. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm the fucking worst, man. I shit on everybody.
It's all right.
And I'm not even like that good looking. I'm very average, and to shit on people's looks. I mean, it's all in jest, kind of. But. So they go in, they set up this box, and they all start banging on the window and howling and shit.
For so long, I would have woken up immediately. Cropsy sleeps for like 5 minutes still.
Dude, so long. And they're howling so... And it's obviously the most man-made howl noises. It's like... Ow! It's the craziest thing. Cropsy wakes up, and there's a skull with fucking like maggots
worms and maggots coming out of it.
And candles. It was such an elaborate piece to set up. And...
I like it though because it's not what you were expecting.
No,
it's a unique prank.
And it wasn't like malicious. Like
also, where did they get a skull? Because that's clearly
the most concerning. Yeah. That's the most concerning thing. That was clearly robbed from a grave. That looks like the skull from Zombie.
It does. Like,
yeah. And Cropsy wakes up, knocking the candles all over himself, and bursts into the largest human flame of all time.
He ignites so fast, and on top of that, he's also sleeping next to a can of gasoline.
And the house, there's no damage done to the house.
No, it's all him.
It's just on Cropsy.
Absorbs the Cropsy.
He's like a ball of fire, and he runs out.
He walks outside, and all the kids are out there, and he's just flailing his arms, and he falls down a hill. He tumbles into the lake, in the pond, whatever it is.
Cabin's totally unscathed. And then, okay, so there is one problem I had with this movie, which was that any time they changed a scene, it was a full fade out, fade in.
Yeah.
They did it so much. And there were so many subtitles for like, where it was like 1 week later,
yes,
St. Catherine's Hospital.
I didn't have a problem
and
with
they fade in and fade out every time. And clearly the editor just got that piece of equipment. I was like, I'm just going to test it out on this movie. No
Why
one's
not?
going to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to test it out a lot.
I think that opening, though, is pretty strong.
Oh, it was real strong. And oh, wait, are you including the hospital part of it?
No, I'm just including that part.
Oh, yeah, that part was amazing. And then we go to St. Catherine's Hospital 1 week later.
1 week later.
Fade in, fade out. So you're like, okay, this is when the story starts.
Yes.
And it's a nurse.
He's still alive.
Which is crazy. That blew my mind. He's alive.
That guy died.
Dude, out of
like
all,
that stuntman might have died.
out of all the horror movies that like say like he's dead, this is the only one where they're like he's alive, and you're like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Every other one, you're like, oh, he'd live through that.
It's
Like,
true,
like it's so ridiculous. But this one's like, no, that man is dead. That man is fucking dead. But he is alive, and we see a nurse and a doctor walking down a hall. And the nurse is like, you gotta check this guy out.
The most unprofessional nurse of all time. You ain't never seen nothing like this in your life.
And the worst doctor of all time, because he's like...
He's not a doctor yet. He's training.
Oh,
He's
okay.
training.
All right.
Because he doesn't want to go in and the guy says something like, well, how are you going to be a doctor if you can't see this?
Dude, I'm with that guy. Dude, that doctor was like, I don't know if I want to see this. Dude, it's just I mean, I know it's probably horrifying to see a burn victim. It's terrible, but like... You're a fucking doctor. You're going to see so much worse. That's your job.
Yeah.
You're going to see so much worse than a burn victim who's at least alive.
Right. And the nurse that you're talking about, there's I guess a group of people who believe it's a young Larry Fishburne. And it is clearly not Larry Fishburne.
This dude is so skinny and weird looking. He looks nothing like Lawrence
Fishburne.
Also,
Lawrence Fishburne was in Nightmare 3, which is like the same time period.
Yes.
You could just... Anyone that's adamant about that can just put in the other movie and be like, yeah, that's not him.
I don't even understand why that's a thing. That pisses me off so badly.
So the nurse and the doctor go in, and he's about to show him Cropsy. He's like, you've never seen a freak like this. And Cropsy's hand jumps out and grabs the nurse's arm, and that's all that happens. He just grabs his arm, and this nurse is screaming. Screaming like he so fucking goes. Which is ridiculous because he knows Cropsy's in there. He knows he's alive, and his job is to comfort this guy. And all he does is reach out because he's clearly in pain.
Grabs his arm and he just screams.
Could you imagine being in a hospital and being like trying to get your nurse's attention because you're probably all bandaged up and can't talk? He's just screaming for 5 minutes at you. It's so funny.
That is so fucking funny. That is hilarious. That is so funny.
And the other guy runs away. The other guy just sprints away.
The other guy sprints away. And we get 10 minutes of credits that are just black text on white, or white text on black screen with like the sexiest guitar of all time blaring.
That's Rick Wakeman.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack's actually really good.
I mean, he's a talented dude. He played on a lot of classic rock records.
Yeah, he's very good. I mean, I like the music, but yeah, it was good. It was very good. Then we get another fade out, fade in 5 years later. And I'm wondering when we're going to start the fucking movie. At what point?
They say it's been a long struggle, but now he can leave.
Yes. And someone's pushing a guy out of the hospital in a wheelchair. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's just living.
Yeah.
Like it was blowing my mind. Like I've never seen anything
and they're
like
telling him, it was an accident. Don't hold a grudge. They were just kids. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, don't blame the kid. It's like a montage in his head. He's like hearing all these voices from the last 5 years.
Do we know what state this took place in? Was it New York?
Oh yeah, because
the next place he goes is a fucking like peep show, and he picks up a prostitute. And the only place I can think of is like
that has to be New York City.
Yeah. I don't know.
So then how does he get whatever? I'll let it slide. This is a movie that is the perfect like what we talk about where like if your pace is fast enough, you can get away with a lot of bullshit.
And it was a perfect pace.
Yeah. It was a perfect pace, and it hides a lot of its like flaws.
It does.
Like, because obviously it's a fucking slasher.
We didn't say this. Sorry to pull a Paul. But
no, that's not pulling a Paul. This is pulling a Paul. Wait, no, that's not even pulling a Paul. I need you to talk.
It would be whippy after I'm talking.
We can't even do it because it's so unnatural. It's so uncomfortable to do to somebody.
even forgot what I was going to say now. We were talking. Oh, the budget was $1.5 million, which is not a lot of money.
No.
And like after watching this, I just thought it was like literally a masterpiece in low budget horror filmmaking.
I agree.
Like everything just works together. We're talking about the pacing, the story's pretty solid. Like I just love it.
Yeah, I mean like I said, there's like a little bit of flaws in it, but like your typical slasher flaws, like just like why would he do that, or like what is happening? But when you keep a pace like this, it's just incredible. And there's some kill scenes in this that like explode in my head. One in particular that we'll get to. But.
Like next week, we're talking about a movie that's also a slasher film that has some flaws that are impossible to just glare over, which I still find it enjoyable. But like when you compare it to this, it's
I can't wait to talk about it. It's so stupid. We're doing Pieces next week, by the way, guys. And it's part of THS's. THS, that's the hashtag. The horror show's summer school. Part of the horror. I'm just going to ruin this show. Part of the horror show's summer school is we are letting our Patreon members choose the movies for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
If you're a Patreon member,
probably should have started the show by saying
probably should have started that, but this wasn't a pick.
Right.
Technically, it was. Somebody put this on their list, but we had it already, and I told him we already had this, so he could have put something else. Elliot. Fucking Elliot. So anyway, point is patreon.com/IHateHorror. You can join in on the fun. We're having everyone submit 3 movies, and we will pick one of your movies to do on the show.
Yeah.
And up first is Elliot next week, who had The Burning on his list, which we had already chosen, and also Pieces, which we chose to do. Wow. And Elliot, I think, loves it.
He does. He gave it 3.5 stars and he said he could have given it 4.
Oh, what? Oh my God. Can't wait for next week. It's going to be terrible.
I love that we did our plugs in the middle of talking about a movie.
I know. We're so stupid. Maybe I'll edit it to make it sound coherent.
You won't.
No. So yeah, I think it takes place in New York City.
Because immediately after he leaves the hospital, he goes to obviously a seedy part of town.
Which I totally forgot about until just now reading my notes. And I'm like, oh yeah, this fucking scene.
Yeah, he goes, there's peep shows, there's strip clubs.
And it's all POV shots.
All POV shot. You don't see what Cropsey looks like. But he's dressed like a 1930s The Shadow. You know? He has like a cloak and like
dude, he looks
hats.
exactly like The Shadow. It's so fucking stupid. It's unbelievable. The Shadow sucks. I was so mad, dude. He's got a giant hat and a fucking scarf. Like, yeah. You see somebody like that walking around and you're like, fucking arrest that guy. That guy's no good. That guy's no fucking good.
It's true.
Like, what the fuck? But he gets a whore.
Yeah.
Who talks... My favorite thing is people making movies based in New York City that are clearly not in New York City and just make the women talk like Betty Boop, even though it's 1980. And it's like, oh, hey, sweetheart. Like, want a date? This girl is so annoying. And I don't know if she was ad-libbing or not, or if she just didn't know. She used the same line multiple times in this. She just changed the noun in it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I kind of droned her out after like the first 2 sentences she said.
She talks for so long, and she's like, "If you're coming in, why don't you just come on in?"
Yes,
and I'm like, "Okay, that is the dumbest line of all time."
It is.
Then he goes in,
and she sees his face.
Well, no. Then she goes, she's like telling him to take off his clothes, and she goes, "If you want to keep your hat on, keep it on." And I was like, "The same fucking line you just said, you stupid idiot. Why do you just keep saying that? If you want to keep your clothes on, just keep them on." And then she sees his face, and
she's like,
she does not have a good reaction.
No.
Why?
She's like, why don't you just leave?
Yeah, she's just yelling, "Get out, get out." He hasn't done anything.
Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong.
He just took off his clothes.
He's just an ugly guy.
And why would a whore bring a man to her house? That was like her apartment.
Yeah, her personal apartment. Yeah. There's no pimp around, like nobody monitoring what's happening. She's like,
"Come to my personal home."
Yeah.
And like, this is terrible. Awesome kill scene.
Fantastic kill scene.
Like maybe one of the best ever. He stabs her in the guts with a pair of scissors.
And Savini magic, you see it go right into the gut. You see
he
pierce the
turns
flesh.
it.
Yeah.
He turns it. Yeah, it's like a tight shot on it. It's nuts. And blood is everywhere.
Everywhere. And then
It's
she
awesome.
falls backwards through a fucking window.
Yeah.
The glass shatters. And, he's still just stabbing away.
Yeah, and I am in love at this point. Like, I'm like, this is it. Like, I love this movie.
And the best thing about it is, in context with the rest of the movie, Cropsey has no reason to do this to this poor girl.
Yeah.
Cropsey wants to get back at the kids that fucking did this to him.
That's a really great point because, yeah. I don't, yeah. I mean, I don't care.
No.
I don't know why they did it, though. Here's the other thing. All right, well, we can get into it. So, fade in, fade out, Camp Stillwater now.
Yes.
Now we're moving on.
And who do we see? Fucking George Costanza.
Jason Alexander's in this, handsome as fuck.
Full head of hair.
Huge head of hair.
Yeah.
Kind of jacked.
Stocky.
Fat jack.
Stocky.
Yeah. Good, like, looks like a good football player.
We see Fisher Stevens.
Fisher Stevens is
who
there.
might weigh 80 pounds wet and wearing boots.
And they're playing baseball, and these girls are wearing clothes that look like they're painted on.
Yeah.
Dude, that girl's shirt, I don't even know how you can find something that tight.
So I know people wore short shorts in the 80s, in the 70s, but like Fisher Stevens shorts go up to like the middle of his thighs. George Costanza's go up to like his nutsack. Like it is fucking insane.
It is nuts. It's nuts. It's on par with that guy from Sleepaway Camp. That dude's shorts were so fucking high. They were playing baseball too. What was up with that? Like,
also, I'm well aware that his name is Jason Alexander, but I'm going to call him George. Not even his character's name.
I'm probably going to start calling him George Alexander or some combo.
You guys know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a scene that we will talk about later, and I do this every episode, and I hate myself for it, but I need to talk about it right now because Jason George, whatever, he hams it up. He is acting so hard that there's a scene when they walk into the dining hall.
Yeah.
And he is entering the place like he's the fucking Pope. He is addressing nobody has ever entered a room like that in their entire lives. He addresses everybody, and he's just making like stupid, shitty one-liners to all of them, like he's the fucking man.
Which is weird because he's hanging out with the losers, right? That's what I took away from it.
No, he definitely is. I think he might just be like a nice guy because he seemed well liked by everybody. But when he walks into that room, it is like the fucking second coming of Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It is crazy. And immediately, there is no hesitation in this movie. They lose a ball in the woods, and we are immediately greeted by Cropsey out in the fucking woods.
Yep.
And he's ready. And this is not like, oh, it's just another kid in the woods that we're pretending to do POV
No, it's
with.
Cropsey.
It's fucking Cropsey. He's got his shears.
He has his shears, and they're raised up, and he like hesitates for some reason.
It's insane. It's insane. It's so goddamn good, though. We're introduced to a lot of the characters here, and it's a ton of them. And I did not take down their names because there's like 40 of them.
Yeah.
Which ends up being awesome.
Yeah.
Because they were like, let's build in 60 characters that we can just slaughter.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was fucking amazing. It was so damn good. But yeah, so we're already introduced there. It's so 80s.
A lot of gratuitous nudity in this movie. Because the very next scene is just a girl topless showering.
Oh, for so long. It's the longest shower scene. It's so crazy. It's so fucking crazy. I would call it lingering. Maybe not long. It was very lingering, though. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel bad for these actresses when I think about it, because, like, that scene was so long. They had to have filmed so much footage of her in the shower, and the director's just like, do it one more time. Just do it again. All right,
It is real weird when you think about it.
Yeah, like, all right, we need to do another take of that.
You probably make it like $20 a day.
Yeah. Really lather up your hair this time. Fuck. God damn it.
Yeah.
But
the shower scene is kind of important because while she's showering, she's hearing creaking. She screams and the other girls run out. And I thought it might be Cropsey, and I'd already seen this movie, but I thought it might be Cropsey, and it's not. It's just some dweeb named
Albert. Albert, Alfred.
I wrote his name so many different ways. I wrote Albert, Alfred.
Dude, so did I. So we're going to get that name wrong for the rest of it. Because I legitimately did the same thing.
It's Alfred. It's Alfred.
It's Alfred?
It might be Albert. I have Alfred written more than Albert, though. Because I have Albert up here, but at the end I have Alfred like 4 times.
Let me see what I have. Okay, I have Alfred.
Okay.
He kind of looks like Andy Samberg at the beginning.
I have Albert a couple
Dude,
times.
I'm sure I have different
and at
ones.
the end, I have Albert at the end too. All right, whatever. I'm just an idiot.
Albert. But we meet this kid Albert, Alfred, who's a creep. Little bit of an outsider, a little bit of a nerd. And he's just watching her in the shower.
Dude, he's legitimately a creep.
Right.
Like
he's a rapist.
I thought you were gonna I thought the movie was gonna build up like to defend him, but he's just a weird dude.
Yeah, they never get over that.
No.
And actually it gets weirder. Yeah.
There's a meathead who hates him, and there's one scene where he's like, "This freak is just staring at me," and the kid is literally just staring at him. Like, it would piss me off.
Yeah, I would be so fucking angry if I were that guy. It's nuts. And this kid gets caught spying on the girl, and he claims he was just trying to scare her. Mission accomplished.
It's also his first day at camp.
Alfred the rapist. Yeah.
It's a terrible way to make friends.
Yeah. And man, how the times have changed, because the counselors find out about it. They catch him red-handed, basically. And he basically just gets like a tongue lashing.
Yeah.
For, I don't know what you call it, sexual assault.
Yeah. The female counselor is more upset.
Yeah, but like she's like, I want him kicked out of here. Like,
yeah.
Dude, you're arrested today. And rightfully so, by the way. I'm not saying that like, ugh.
No.
Back in my day, it was better.
You'd be on the news.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. It's fucking terrible.
The female counselor reprimands him. The other guy reprimands him, but he's kind of more forgiving. Yeah. And then
he's like, just don't do it again.
Then we cut to the meathead, who just jacks him up immediately. And was like, if I ever catch you doing that again, I'll
Glazer.
Glazer's his name.
Dude is 40 years old and a counselor. And I was honestly pissed because I was like, if this guy is supposed to be a kid, I'm going to lose my shit. Because this guy is clearly a 40-year-old man. He looks like a degenerate drunk gambler from like Staten Island.
He does. Because Fisher Stevens was actually 17 at the time of the movie. This guy was probably actually 40.
This dude was in Spider-Man too. No, Spider-Man TOO. He was in the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Oh, okay.
He was the wrestling promoter.
Really?
Yeah.
When he brings on Randy Savage?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Pretty cool. Glazer. Awesome. So he's getting work.
We didn't mention, we glazed over this. Todd is the guy's name, the counselor that reprimands him.
Mm-hmm.
And you think he's a good looking dude?
I think Todd's a good looking man. You didn't like Todd's looks? I thought he was.
I mean, nothing to write home about.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just sick of ugly people. And we watched a lot of movies.
You put him next to Cropsey, like pre-burn, just fucking.
And Glazer's
not that bad.
Yo, later in the movie, Glazer like sexually assaults somebody.
Yeah, he does.
And they fall in love. It's the most fucked up thing I've ever seen.
The other kid too, who looks like a mix of Cal Penn and Jay Baruchel. Also, he treats women so poorly.
Dude, this is a really bad movie for women's rights. It's not okay how they treat these women in this camp. I feel very bad.
Well, your boy Todd sticks up for Alfred.
Maybe that's why I'm attracted to Todd.
He's a good guy.
He's a really good guy.
Good guy. Well, he also burned Cropsey alive.
That wasn't his intention, though. Although he did
spoiler alert. We find out at the end he was one of the counselors.
But you knew that.
You did.
Because when he reprimands Albert, he's like, because it's, all right, remember, it said 5 years later. And then as he's reprimanding Albert, he's like, I got kicked out of camp 5 years ago. I was like, okay, so you lit Cropsey on fire.
You do know.
Yeah.
So he stands up for, it's Alfred, right? Alfred.
Yeah.
You've been calling him Albert.
Whatever.
He stands up for Alfred. He tells Glazer.
Why are you saying Alfred like that? Alfred.
I don't know.
It's like Stefan and Steve, or Alfred.
Fuck you,
Alfred.
Idiot's name. He tells Glazer, pick out some on your own side.
Yep.
Then we cut to a scene with George hamming it up again in his super short swimsuits, and Glazer goes behind Alfred, pushes him in the water, and George is like, "What are you, crazy? He can't swim." And Glazer's like, "Yeah, I'm crazy, so you better save him before he drowns." And then it just goes away.
Yeah.
What? You're a fucking counselor.
Jumps in the water and swims to like where all the girls are.
None of them are interested.
None of them are interested in him, but he keeps claiming one of them is his girlfriend, who he later sexually assaults, and they fall in love.
Yes.
I just want to keep bringing that point up because it's fucking ludicrous.
And when he swims over to them, he gets out and he goes, "Hey, you want to go swimming?" And someone says, "No, I don't want to get my hair wet." And they laugh like it's the funniest fucking thing that they've ever heard. It was the craziest. I don't even get the joke.
I don't either.
They were laughing so hard.
They were laughing so hard. And then then George Costanza's like, "Hey, let's fuck Glazer up." And a kid pulls out a fucking gun.
Fisher Stevens pulls out a BB gun.
A fucking gun. Yeah. Shoots him.
Shoots him right in the butt. And then they all pull their pants down and moon him.
Dude.
Who, by the way... No, I'm not going to say it.
What?
Fisher Stevens has the hairiest asshole I've ever seen.
Well, I was going to say, in that vein, I'm cool with, male nudity and stuff. I'm not cool with... from behind,
gaping balls,
butthole and scrot shot. You know what? Like the shadow of the scrot dangling. Like, I don't need that. I'm cool with like basically every other. I'm not even cool with female buttholes in my. I brought this up with some of our fans because the Twitter sex bots are out in full force these days. Full force, and they have this new trick where they put up like a plain profile picture. Like, you're like, it looks like a normal person. And you're like, oh, okay, let me see who this new fan is. It's like my shit. You click it. There's a giant butthole, like, in my face. Like, dude, nude butthole. Like, bare butthole. I was like, God, man, I don't, like, come on. Poop comes out of that.
I'm in that camp, dude. I've never looked at an asshole and been like, man, I really want to be sticking my dick in that.
That butthole. And the same goes for these men. And the scrot shadows and their buttholes, like
the worst conversation we've ever had.
It is, and it's 4 of them lined up, so you can't even like. There's nothing else to look at on the screen.
So obviously my eyes were.
And you've got like a 50-inch. You got a 50-inch TV, and you're just looking at these like giant scrots and buttholes, and you're just like, fuck you, Jason Alexander. Is Jason Alexander a counselor or a kid?
No, he's a kid.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, then the next scene is even crazier because they're all smoking cigars and looking at porn.
Yeah.
Playing poker.
Yeah.
This is a camp to go to.
To be fair, when we were in 6th grade, we went to... we spent a night on a boat. You guys did that, right? Because you're a year below me.
Yeah, I don't think I did it, though.
So we spent a night on a boat, and a father was our chaperone. And he had a girl in 6th grade, so he had to stay with the boys, obviously. And around the time that the curfew came out, he was like, "All right, guys, let's play some poker." And he passed out cards, and they all were just tits, like on every single card.
No
yeah,
way.
I swear to God,
dude, that guy would be like arrested now.
I know. He's also a very successful man, so I hope he doesn't listen to his show. But yeah, pass out nude playing cards. So I guess that was the thing to do in camps or sleepover things.
His daughter was in your grade?
Yeah. I'll tell you after.
All right. Does the last name begin with a K?
No.
Okay. I'm glad we have like towny conversations on our show. No one gives a fuck about. Not even people in this town give a shit. A lot more POV. There's about 1 million red herrings that they're throwing at us, including Alfred. He's basically a giant red herring.
Huge one. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though the whole time in my head, I'm like, this guy is not that. But George Costanza somehow has like this inn at the package store or something. So he like can buy all this shit. I don't know what it is, but everyone like, he's like, I don't even know. He's like the guy in prison that like sneaks stuff into with his butthole because he's just like, everyone's like, "Oh, did you get my shit? Did you get my shit?" And he's like, "I got it for you." And Glazer is one of the kids that asks him where his shit is. He's he's like, he asked for condoms. And he's like, I asked for lubricated rubbers. These ain't lubricated rubbers. And dude, what the some dialogue in these things is so bad. Like, at what age are you that out of touch? Like, you think a kid would be like, I need the... Dude, if you're this kid's age and you're looking to have sex, you'll do anything.
You use a fucking plastic bag.
Yeah. I need the lubricated rubbers. Yeah. And he makes Jason Alexander get new ones. He's like, Jason's like, I'll get you other ones. He's like, okay. Fucking insane. Meanwhile, Albert fucking sees Cropsy.
Sees Cropsy in the window.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
God damn.
And I just realized this now, like, a lot is happening and a lot of time has passed in this movie, and there hasn't really been any kills, but it's interesting enough that it's not dragging.
No, these kids are all interesting. They're cool characters. George Costanza, for as annoying as he is just a really, like, I genuinely liked that character.
I did
like,
too.
A lot. Like, I just really liked that character. I thought he was... I don't know what it was about him. He's just, I don't know. I liked him. And I like Todd,
so
too.
Happy.
I like Todd, too. Todd's a good character, too. Like, I don't know. I was actually invested in these characters. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was so fucking weird. I was so thrown off by this. Because, the cover is like a guy with shears and a bloody river. And you're just like, all right. Like, and a lot of people call it a Jason ripoff. But did you hear that it was written 2 years before?
That's what Weinstein says, which, could be a lie.
Could totally
However...
be a lie.
Just because it's a similar story, I don't think it's a ripoff. I think it tells a story just fine, and
I think it might be better than Friday the 13th.
Dude, I love this movie, so I'm okay with saying that.
I think it is.
It's very good.
I really do. I mean, we'll get to this other scene, but
so he sees the face in the mirror.
Yeah.
Glazer gives him shit, of course, saying, well, you're hallucinating, you're just a freak, blah, blah, blah. No one believes him. Then they go to the dining hall where George walks in.
It's the fucking boat.
Yeah. And one of the guys, Woodstock, Fisher Stevens' character, he forgot his vitamin E.
Yo, was that a joke about,
I don't think I've ever taken vitamin E in my life.
And they're like, what do you need? It was really weird. Like,
yeah, if someone knows what you use that
I thought it was like a sex joke. Like, I thought it was like a boner joke or something. I don't know.
Well, he goes back to get vitamin E. He goes into the cabin. It's pitch dark. And while he's in there, somebody else enters the cabin. And I thought the scene was really good because it was suspenseful. Because
yes,
Fisher Stevens was acting it up pretty well. You don't know what's going on. He turns on a flashlight, and it's just Todd. So it was like a red herring. But I was like, that was fucking awesome. Like, I was on the edge of my seat.
It was amazing. It was really, really good.
They're all about to canoe to a different campsite, sit by the fire.
Yeah.
And
it's like a trip. It seemed like an annual type of trip.
Yeah, so they go
for the counselors, right?
No, the kids go too.
Are we sure Jason Alexander's a kid?
I'm pretty positive. All right. Because Alfred goes with them.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So does Woodstock. They all go.
Oh, yeah. You're right. No, you're right.
So they all leave from that camp. They canoe across the river.
Yeah.
And they set up a campfire. And Todd tells the story of Cropsy.
Right.
Which I just want to remind you all, this was 5 years before. And
it's only 5 years.
And Todd fucking burned this guy alive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that? And then being like, oh man, there was some freak who got burned and now he comes back. That's insane.
It's really insane.
That would haunt me
committed
forever.
crime. That's like O.J. Simpson sitting around a fire and being like,
there's this girl named Nicole, and she was a fucking freak.
So this valiant man slit her throat, and now she comes back every year to haunt her family.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's fucking bizarro. It's nuts. And we get a couple that goes skinny dipping.
Well, while he's telling that story, somebody shows up with a Cropsy mask on, which looks exactly like Cropsy.
Dude, it's really good, and it's actually terrifying.
But why would they know what he looked like?
Just happenstance. Maybe No, wait, that was a stupid joke. Never mind. I was gonna say maybe Cropsy was wearing the mask and it melted to his face and fused on. Then I was like, oh no, we saw his stupid ugly face. Just discussed it in great detail. Yeah, no, that was a cool scene though.
Then they go skinny.
A couple goes skinny dipping, and at this point, I'm thinking this is the perfect horror movie.
It is,
dude. It's like this is the triple B's to perfection. Like, damn it.
Yeah.
Fuck. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, because in that scene, you see ass, you see bush, you see...
Dude, there's like full frontal in this. It's crazy.
They go skinny dipping, and the couple get into a fight.
The weirdest fight ever,
He's
too.
an asshole. He like, punches at the water.
He is a hothead. Yeah. He's a straight up hothead. And yeah, I mean, this definitely is New York because everyone has these terrible accents.
and temper.
This guy, and this guy is like to perfection, like a New York City kid. And yeah, he's super pissed. So the girl leaves. She's following like a trail of her clothes.
Well, she gets back and all her clothes are missing.
Right.
And she's naked.
Yes.
So she thinks people are playing a prank on her.
Yeah.
And she sees like one item of clothing hanging from a branch. So yeah, she's following a trail. She's going deeper and deeper into the woods.
To a vicious throat slit.
Yes. From Cropsey.
Brutal. And probably a painful death. A slow, painful death there.
Probably, yes. Isn't Alfred watching them at this point? He sees the murder.
Alfred sees... Does he see the murder?
Alfred.
Alfred.
Yeah, he has to because he goes back and he's like, she's dead. Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
He warns Todd.
Oh yeah.
I think that's that scene. Because he's actually being a legit creep. He's just like spying through the woods for some reason.
Yeah, and Alfred always looks pissed.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess is just supposed to be a red herring, but it's just really creepy. Like, does nothing for that dude's character.
No.
Because at no point ever in the movie am I like, I feel bad for this guy.
No, he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
But he does see it, and he warns them. And then comes my favorite scene, maybe and possibly ever. They cut to like George Costanza and all them. They're canoeing. They see a canoe in the distance, and they're like, oh, that's one of our canoes.
Yes. So they find out all their canoes are gone at the same time. So when Alfred runs back, he says, chick's dead.
Yes.
Dunzo. They're like, oh shit. So they go to get the canoe to get help. Canoes are all gone. Fucking awesome. So now they're isolated. It's like a little island, right?
Yeah.
That they're on. So they're totally isolated on this fucking island. So they're like, oh, I have to bring this up. I'm sorry. I don't want to get into every detail, but they're out of canoes. So they're like, let's build a raft to get home. These dudes build a fucking raft in 2 hours. Like collecting sticks and shit. And Todd puts this shit together and builds a fucking working raft.
Yeah.
That holds like 8 people on it. And then they go out to find it and they see a canoe out in the middle of the...
That's not Todd and them.
No. But Todd builds it.
Right. But the people that go out are George and all them.
Yes.
And they see the canoe and they're like, oh, that must be one of ours.
No, George isn't on it either.
Wait.
It's a bunch of randos.
No, because Woodstock's on it too.
Yeah, but George isn't. Because George sees it when it comes back later.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. He's on the island and he's like, hey!
You're right. I have it right here in my notes.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
But Fisher Stevens is on it.
Fisher Stevens is on it. A bunch of them. And again, there's like 40 people on this cast.
My bad.
So they just throw like 10 people on this raft.
Yes. And they go to the canoe. They go to investigate. And Cropsey jumps up with his pair of shears. And it's legitimately scary. Like, it gives you a startle. He jumps up. You're like, holy shit. And then he just fucking slaughters. And these kills are amazing.
It's a massacre. It's fucking
amazing. Chops Fisher Stevens cleaned off. You just see flesh ripping. Like, it is fantastic.
I could not believe this. And I don't know if there is a scene in a slasher where they kill like
90% of the movie.
Well, not even that, but in a single moment, they kill like 6 people. Like they always spread them out because you have to. But this movie was like, fuck it, and they did not do it.
But that scene is like, that is like top notch horror right there.
Yes,
it made me jump when he jumps up. The gore is fucking great, and you're just like the whole time, like I had my hand on my head, being like, "Holy shit!"
And it's fucking unique.
And I'd seen it before, and I was still doing that. Like
it's amazing. I have some notes here. He stabs one dude in the, and I love it because the way he stabs down is like the cover art.
Yes,
like the way he comes up out of the canoe.
And like the director had a vision for that, and nobody was doing it the right way.
That's what
he was just like, I'm gonna fucking do it myself. And I love that because it's perfect.
It was an amazing shot. And he stabs one dude just right in the chest. He cuts another guy's fucking fingers off.
Yeah, Fisher Stevens.
The guy's like, and clean off,
chop right off.
One guy gets poked in the neck, just like, boo. It's like, oh, man. And one girl just gets cut across her skull and just bleeds out.
Fucking crazy.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was 6 people that they killed right there. Fucking boom.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Then we go to Glazer sexually assaulting.
Yeah, so he's kind of forcing himself on her, and she's like, no, 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 no. And then we like cut, and they're having sex. And he ejaculates. He ejaculates prematurely. And she's like, that's it? And he's like, that's never happened before. Yeah. Like your typical thing. And then he like clearly seems kind of bummed out. He's like, yeah, this is my one shot to bang her, and this happened. But then I forget what she says, but she's like, so you want to keep hanging out? And he's like, really? You mean it? It's like, you were just begging this dude to stop touching you 2 seconds ago. God damn it. God damn it, 80s. Why did you do this? Like,
I know.
Like, who saw that and was like, this is romantic. This will make everyone love Glazer. Make everyone love whatever her name is. Stephanie, I think it was. Don't ask me how I know that. But he must have gotten his lubricated rubbers. Because maybe they weren't lubricated. Maybe that's why he had an issue there.
I mean, I feel... Whatever.
Anyway, Glazer runs away. He's like, I don't know what he needs to do, but he just like takes off.
Yeah, and leaves her alone.
And the movie switches from day to night back to day. In between, Glazer, they're having sex in the day. Glazer's running in the day. He reaches the camp at night. And I forget what he's doing. I think he's like, he's looking for condoms. Or I don't know what he's looking for.
I don't know what
matches.
he's doing.
I don't know what he's looking. He picks up a rock and there's something under it. Now Alfred's watching him from under his sleeping bag.
This is the kill that Alfred sees. I was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah.
This is the kill that Alfred sees.
And you're right. And and Alfred just like spying on him and then follows him back into the woods, leaves the camp at night. It is now day again. And he goes up to, he goes up to her sleeping bag and opens it, and she's fucking dead.
Yes.
Deader than a doornail. And out of nowhere comes Cropsy.
Yep.
Stabs him in the front of his throat with like the open pair of shears, almost like a forklift.
Yep.
And lifts him in the air and is just walking him.
It's fucking awesome.
It's incredible. And then pegs him to a tree.
And then, like I said, I was wrong before. This is the one that Alfred sees. He runs back, gets Todd. They go back through the woods, and they find the body. And then it cuts to the other kids, like George, which I was also wrong about. They see the dead bodies on the boat, and they think everybody's fucking around.
Yeah.
Because the boat's floating back to
the
land.
The boat's floating back so slowly, and everyone on the island's like, oh, you jokers, get up, you jokers. And like, you'd be like, if you saw that, even if, you're not expecting them to be dead, you'd be like, something's wrong. Yeah, like something in your heart is
everything's still.
You fucking pranksters, get up.
And some girl swims to it. And as she like pulls herself up, a fucking hand just slaps her in the face.
And then a body pops up from the water. It was amazing.
Everything about this is amazing.
I just love that. I also love that the raft just floats back. I think that was such an amazing thing to add.
I do too. I think it's great.
Dude, it's so fucking
like a
good.
perfect way to set up the other kids knowing that this happens.
Yeah. So often you'll just see it was awesome. It was just awesome. A lot of movies will just ignore the fact that they've killed like 30 people and no one ever sees the body. Yeah. Or they see like the one that's hanging. And this was awesome that he like kicked that raft back. It was like, eat shit. Here's your friends. But we should get on this. The kids,
they go back to camp.
We're on the dead raft. Like they clear out the bodies and are like, we got to get back home.
To be fair, that's logical.
I guess you would too, but like that would be horrifying to be on a bloody old raft. I would be freaked out. But they leave Halbert behind, or Alfred. Yeah, I did the same thing you did.
Just change his name.
Do you think they changed his name?
They just said it a bunch of times. Nobody will notice.
But they. Alfred's left alone on this island.
With Todd. He's with Todd.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense then, because I was like, I thought Todd came back. I was like, that's weird.
No, because they go and they find Glazer's body. Alfred and Todd.
Right. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
And then, but somehow Alfred gets separated.
Yeah, they
from
get
Todd
slid up because
Alfred's in like a labyrinth for some reason.
Alfred is in like the catacombs. He's like in like it's so weird. He's in like an old building. And then he gets got by Cropsy.
Cropsy catches him.
Cropsy catches him, ties him up.
But that, like, why is Cropsy tying him up?
It's a fatal flaw in the movie. But
unless you could justify it by saying he knows that he's with Todd. And he knows that Todd's one of the kids that burned him. And he knows that Todd would come for him.
I'd do that. I'll buy into it.
Although he is just walking around dismantling people at will. So
yeah, I mean, he's just fucking Todd's life up.
Yeah.
He's making Todd afraid before he grabs Todd.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ties up whatever this guy's name
Alfred.
is.
He puts shears through his arm. Like,
Yeah.
pins him to the wall with it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But fucking Todd the Bod running through the woods with a axe, no shirt, just running with a man. And he woke up when Alfred wakes him up. He has perfect hair. That's always key to a dreamboat.
He goes to the catacombs. It goes to the flashback to show us that Todd was one of the kids that burned Cropsy, even though we had already put those pieces together. Cropsy, for some reason, has a fucking flamethrower.
Like a legit flamethrower, not a homemade thing. Like it's connected to a line.
He got it from the military.
Yes, it's a military grade flamethrower, and he is fucking shit up.
And you see Cropsy's like face up close and personal.
Yeah, it's not that terrible.
It's pretty terrible.
Okay,
it's pretty fucking terrible.
I mean, it looks like a lot like Jason. I could see why people were like,
that guy's face was pretty terrible to begin with. So
yes,
it's like not. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You can't get much worse.
No. So terrible.
Guys are family.
Also, Todd's girlfriend, meanwhile, has gotten a boat and a driver. She's going about 100 miles per hour in this boat down the lake, going, Todd! Dude. By the time Todd responds, you're going to be fucking a mile down the river and not hear him because the boat's like, and she's just screaming Todd at the top of her lungs. Boat's flying by. Fucking dumb as shit. It pisses me off. Albert, though, Todd looks like he's going to die. Looks like curtains for Todd.
Yeah.
He's got him dead to rights. And Alfred, our unlikely superhero,
pulls the shears out of his arm.
Yep.
And then stabs the fuck out of Cropsy.
Yep. Our teeny little super guy.
Yeah. Cropsy's dead. And then, much like classic 80s slasher, he arises again. His face gets fucking smashed with Todd's axe.
Yes.
Just absolutely smashed. Yeah. They must have like put a watermelon inside a mask or something.
And Todd burns a man alive again.
Yeah, he gets lit on fire again.
Todd lights another man on fire. Well, I mean, it's the same man, but he's lit this. Dude, imagine that on your life resume. I lit the same man on fire twice. Like, and not like I lit him on fire. Like I
burned this fucking guy alive.
Yeah, twice. Like engulfed in flames. Burned beyond recognition. Oh man, and that's it.
Yeah, movie ends.
I love this movie. This movie was amazing.
Breath of fresh air for us.
Dude, a little bit of a Goblin ripoff on the music at the end, but I'm cool with it.
Yeah. It's...
Here's a weird thing. Todd didn't know, or Todd knew this guy was alive and at a hospital. And then he probably knew he got out of the hospital. Wouldn't you, like, keep tabs on that guy?
Probably.
If I burned a guy alive... Like,
wouldn't you just leave the state if you burned a man alive?
So you'd either run,
would you not be a counselor at the fucking area,
the same camp, the same fucking camp, just renamed. There's two ways you go about this. You either move really far away and pray that guy doesn't find you because you're not going to see him coming, or you keep what do they say? Like you keep him at arm's length. Keep your enemies close or whatever. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. I think I'd opt for the second one. Like, I think I'd stay in town just so I could...
Make sure he's not going to kill your family?
Yeah. Just so I know his whereabouts.
It's a good idea.
But Todd just doesn't give a fuck.
Todd's just telling stories. Like, ghost stories about him.
Mocking him. Mocking the man he lit on fire. To be fair, Todd did not mean to...
No, so these kids are not at fault. Like, honestly, putting a scary... you know what? Fuck this. Cropsy's at fault. Because who sleeps next to a can of gasoline? Like, that's what you get.
Dude, he's
it's just a bad decision. And it's in a wooden cabin.
He's like Charlie from It's Always Sunny. That guy reminds me of Charlie. Like, he just lives in squalor. Like, I feel like he just lived it. Like, I mean, that's no reason to burn a guy alive, but no one meant to.
No, it's his fault. It's not like up to OSHA standards.
Also, he really freaked out about that skull. I don't know if I would or not. I mean, I want to say I wouldn't, but I might.
I mean, if you wake up to anything that's not there when you went to bed and it was like lit and illuminated, you would probably freak out.
It's true. That's true.
But it is like, that's a good prank. Like that. Like it's
a good prank. Like, it's a good prank.
It's a
I don't know if I
prank.
would kick everything. I guess that's my point. This dude sees it and literally kicks everything in his path while he's laying down. His feet are just going. And
you would probably just like jump up and then like collect your thoughts.
Yeah. For like a split second, be like, "Oh, I'm at a camp with like 600 kids. Some asshole did this." He just kicks everything, and there's candles and
this is all Cropsy's fault.
This is really Cropsy deserved to die. Now we're on Cropsy's list.
Oh shit!
Yep.
Don't go to Mixville.
So that's it, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Next week, Yog Dog, we're coming for you.
Pieces. I'm on your side, Elliot.
Pieces next week.
I like Pieces.
Pieces is not a good movie.
Sure, but it's very enjoyable.
Well, you'll find out next week, everyone. So what do we normally do here? Adios. Facebook.com/IHateHorror. I'm on Twitter at I Hate Horror Show, and I'm on Instagram at I Hate Horror.
I'm at Jovi421 for Twitter. I'm Boognish1985 for Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. I don't know what my name is.
It's like Horror Show Joe.
Yeah, that is what my name is. Horror Show Joe, Snapchat.
I'm thrown off. IHateHorror.com, Facebook.com/IHateHorror. And if you want to help support us monetarily, you can go to Patreon.com/IHateHorror. It's literally a donation. We do try to do stuff for the donors. We are trying to do more stuff like this filmed version of the podcast, which we're still kind of testing out, but they get to see the test stuff. I just
realized I'm sitting so awkwardly.
Yeah. And no, you're all right. And then what else do they get? We're trying to do bonus episodes. We'll do more of those, I promise. They're coming. We just have to think of a better concept. Kolchak sucks. What else do we do? Oh, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. Really appreciate it. You guys for doing that. We got on within the top 100 of iTunes TV and film, which is fucking crazy. So if you haven't rate, reviewed, subscribed, please do us a favor and do that, because it helps us. It gets eyes on the show, and that means maybe someday we can get paid. Well, for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird. Adios.
What is that?